Riots and looting also erupted in San Francisco. A state of emergency remained in effect today. Police stopped some protesters who tried to block the Golden Gate Bridge. Today, police guarded damaged stores there as merchants totaled up their losses from massive lootings. The rage and riots that exploded in California's two biggest cities were also seen on a smaller scale in other parts of the nation. In Las Vegas, a police officer was shot and wounded after a mob of people set fires in the city's predominantly black west side. The mayor imposed a curfew, and Nevada's governor activated more than 300 National Guardsmen. In Atlanta, windows were smashed and bystanders were beaten. Police fired tear gas into a crowd of black college students who were throwing bricks at the officers. In St. Louis, several homes and stores were firebombed. Violence was also reported in Pittsburgh, Omaha, Seattle, and Tampa. The nation's biggest city, New York, was swept with rumors of violence throughout the day, but that is apparently all they were. In Times Square, black activists led a rally to protest the King verdict. There was a huge police presence, and the demonstration was peaceful. In the neighboring borough of Brooklyn, hundreds of high school students held a loud but mostly peaceful march across the Brooklyn Bridge to City Hall. Throughout the city, thousands of workers were sent home as businesses shut down in anticipation of violence.
President Bush met this morning with civil rights leaders. After that meeting, they spoke to reporters outside the White House.
I think there was a unanimous agreement.
To our city.
You see this little girl? She's 8 years old. I want you to be a good role model for her.
Mayor David Dinkins even called for calm one-on-one after Mordecai Levy of the Jewish Defense Organization yelled at him for not doing more to stop the violence in Crown Heights as the mayor walked with the little girl.
We who are gathered here, all of us, ought to convey to the people of our city and to our youth how proud we are of them, that they have behaved and restrained themselves as they have. That's very important.
He had just met at Gracie Mansion with community and religious leaders, and at City Hall was flanked by our town's top law enforcement officials. The message was the same.
It is my hope that cooler heads will prevail, that young people will recognize that there is a way to channel their anger and frustration.
No justice!
Just outside City Hall's windows, young protesters agreed.
If they're going to demonstrate in a peaceful manner as far as just expressing how they feel, that's all.
Prudence, obviously, is in order, and the city of New York has deployed all of its forces. Those are crisis groups, human rights people who have gone out into the community to deal with possible areas of confrontation.
Despite the efforts, the rumor mills of trouble were working overtime, and the mayor urged New Yorkers to rely on news reports and not word of mouth. There are apparently rumors going around, untrue, from possible riots to fires on the bridges. How do you tell people that this has not been happening?
Part of getting the message out that those things are not occurring out there is you, sir.
Well, even with the tensions, officials are confident that the tragedy of Los Angeles will not be repeated here, but just in case, the police are ready as the weekend begins. Cora-Ann, back to you.
Thank you very much, Eric. New Yorkers have been flooding 911 with calls to find out if there is any violence in the city. That is a problem because all the calls are preventing the police from finding out about real emergencies. So they have set up a special number.
This evening establishing a rumor control number where people who want to ask those questions about a certain event taking place, they can call 374-5000. That's 374-5000.
We want to urge you once again, please do not call 911 unless it's an emergency. The reaction to the Rodney King verdict has been violent in several other cities. Police fired tear gas at rioters in Atlanta and arrested 300 people. A state of emergency is in effect in San Francisco. Mobs there set fires and looted downtown stores. About 1,400 people were arrested in the Bay Area. In Las Vegas, one person is dead after a long night of rioting. Nevada's governor has ordered in 400 National Guardsmen to try to prevent any more violence. And rioters went on a rampage in downtown Seattle. 5 people were injured and more than 40 others arrested.
Still ahead, the White House reaction. The president prepares to address the nation.
Also, the Justice Department opens a new investigation against the officers acquitted in the King trial. We'll be right back.
Tonight on A Current Affair.
I was terrified that somebody's beating my son.
His screams were frightening. The cops were brutal. A mother comes to her son's defense.
I was screaming, stop, stop.
Now she's going to jail. Justice gone mad.
Tonight at 7:30 on Fox 5 New York.